Hey kids, Mom needs more help inside.
Hey! How many kids do you have?
3.
3?
Yeah.
That is a good number.
Whoa, whoa. Let's just concentrate on this one for now. Hey, what's it like being a dad?
How I would love 1 hour with you, 1 hour of just being with you. Then I could say,
Kiss her, Daddy, kiss her!
Hashtag gag me.
Ugh. Mr. Clams has been sleeping for 2 days, Daddy. Goodbye, Mr. Clams.
No! All right, just slow down a little bit.
Stop yelling at me.
I don't think that's... Oh! Okay, okay. All right, and that is why we always wear our seatbelt. And that's the birds and the bees.
That was a phone.
Yeah. I am so proud of you, son.
Run.
Huh?
Run, it's gonna blow!
Have I told you lately?
I know, Dad. You love me. You tell me all the time.
Actually, I was going to tell you I think you're beautiful inside and out.
Whatever. Dad, you are disgusting.
Yeah, Dad, you are disgusting.
This right here goes to your future, this right here goes to you, and this right here goes to God.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. How much does God get?
What's wrong, beautiful?
Trevor broke up with me.
Thank you, Lord.
He's such a jerk. He broke up with me on a text message.
You just replied.
Dad, I can't believe you! Thanks, Dad.
He didn't deserve you. He didn't deserve you. 1, 2, 3! Heavenly Father, thank you for being so good to us.
God has the coolest job. He can make clouds all day.
Yeah, he does. But I think one of his very best jobs is when he made you.
Daddy.
Hey, what's it like being a dad?
How much time you got?
We hope you guys enjoyed that video from the Skit Guys. We absolutely love the work they do. They've been doing it for years, and they do a terrific job of blending funny with meaningful. So officially from Chapel Student Ministries, we want to say to you, Happy Father's Day. So dads, if you're watching out there with us today, we hope you enjoy your day. We hope you feel celebrated. This morning, we wanted to take a few minutes just to share and reflect on what Father's Day means to us as not only youth pastors, but also as fathers. What can you tell us that you've learned from your own father?
Well, very first thing is I've learned how to grow an amazing mustache. This was a quarantine project that turned into something I wanted to do for my dad. What I've learned from my dad is really sacrificing for your family, and I hope that's something that I can pass on to Beverly. Just looking at kind of what that reminds me of in a biblical character, Joseph, Jesus' dad. If you look at Matthew chapter 1 and 2, it's unbelievable how much Joseph cared for not only his wife, but his son, to keep them both safe, to keep them both in good health, and making sure that everything's okay, protecting them from Herod that was trying to kill Jesus. So that's what it reminds me of my dad, and I've learned to be that way for my family now too. What about you, Tommy?
You know, it's interesting. My mom and dad only stayed together till I was 3. And so my dad wasn't around as much. But I do think of someone like Joseph, to be honest, the same, because he was taking care of someone that technically wasn't his kid. And so I look at the people God put in my life, whether it be my grandfather, who was a very outstanding, godly man, and taught me things about life in general, but also about following and trusting the Lord. And then God put so many people in my life. I'll mention Brad Peppel and Lyle Keller as 2 guys that loved the Lord, but took me in kind of like their own and taught me things about life, whether it be buying a house or relationships, spiritual disciplines. And so I know that there's people out there, you guys, students, who can relate. Maybe your dad isn't the dad you want him to be. Maybe he isn't even around, but God hasn't forgotten about you. He will put other men in your life that love you, that love him, and that will teach you about him. So watching their example of being fathers and husbands and doing it the way God would do it was pretty amazing for me.
You're a dad of 2 girls. What have you learned?
Well, yeah, I'm a proud girl dad, as we know the common term is. And so, you know, it's overwhelming, the responsibility to be a parent. And I know you middle schoolers and high schoolers won't get this yet, but when I think of being a dad, I think of how much I love my daughters, how much I'm invested, how much I'm preparing them spiritually, physically, financially, relationally, in so many ways, that it makes me think, this is how God sees me. That I'm his cherished one, that he's doing so much for, that sometimes I don't understand, sometimes I don't see, and yet there's a responsibility, also a humility, that God chose me to do this. He gave me these daughters specifically to raise. And so it's pretty amazing. I know that I'm not always going to get it right. I know my dad obviously didn't always get it right, but through those mistakes we can learn and we can grow. And I look at my own father and I think, I never want to be the dad that was absent and that was gone. And so how do I take that and move forward in being a father to my girls? How about you?
Well, I have not had as long a time as you've had to do that. 3 months, a little over 3 months, little Beverly is now. But it's funny, I don't want to just steal what you said, but I think I will. Thinking about basically how God views us and how Beverly just, as a baby right now, there's so many things that she just needs. She doesn't even know how to communicate it. She just, all she can do is like cry sometimes, or just her little innocence and her laugh. And it reminds me of how God must see us on just an unbelievably big level. So there's a lot more left for me to learn in other future Father's Days, but for today, I think that was a huge lesson for me.
And he truly is Abba Father,
Yes.
that intimate, personal Father who cares deeply about us as fathers, as children. And I think we don't want to miss that as we celebrate our dads. We celebrate how God the Father is truly intimate and personal and caring.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today for this special Father's Day message. Before you go, we have a special Father's Day message from your sons and daughters that want to tell you thank you and want to say some things about their fathers. Take a look at this video right here.
Happy Father's Day.
My dad is such a hard worker. He is constantly working on projects and he works hard to provide for our family. One funny thing about him is when we're in the car, he sings really loud to the music on the radio, and it's really funny. Love you, Dad.
One thing I like about my dad is he encouraged me to do sports since I was young. He also was there for me every moment in my sports, so that just meant a lot to me. One Christ-like feature I like about him is he's always willing to go help. It's not always like I can't do it. It's always a yes, where do you need me and when can I be there?
Happy Father's Day. I just want to come on here and say that I love my dad so much, and he is so funny and so kind, and I'm just thankful for all the dads in the world. So thank you.
My stepdad reminds me of Jesus Christ because, like Jesus, he has compassion and care for everybody he comes in contact with, no matter how much he knows about their background or their history, or whether he knows nothing about them. He shows them compassion and care consistently because they are a fellow human being and a fellow child of Christ. My dad reminds me of Jesus because, like him, my dad has gone through trials and tribulations in life, but with God on his side, he was able to get through them, make do, and come out with a better connection with Jesus and a better influence on the people around him.
I love how my dad and I can joke around, and my dad is such a hard worker and such an awesome person.
My dad is always there for me and always listens to me, even when he's had a long day. He always is there to talk and to listen to what I have to say. He is an amazing father, and I love him so much.
One thing that I really love about my dad is that he's always there for me in my struggle, and he's always there to relate it back to the goodness of God and the plan that he has for us all. And when I can understand that the struggle that I go through in life isn't just a struggle and it's just for the betterment of myself according to God's plan, it's always a really comforting thing to know.
One of my favorite things about my dad is that he's literally my best friend. He's one of the biggest goofballs I know, and he always supports me in everything that I do. But I've always admired how no matter what the circumstance or situation is, he never really worries and just trusts that God's going to do what needs to be done and that everything's going to be okay.
Funny thing about my dad that I have inherited from him is that he sneezes like 1,000,000 times every time he sneezes, and he gets mad every time he sneezes because he just wants them to stop. And I get the same way, and it's hilarious. A Christ-like quality of my dad is how much that he has sacrificed for his family, including myself, my brother, and my mom. And that has inspired me to do the same for my wife Mandy and my daughter Beverly. So thank you, Dad. Happy Father's Day, and Happy Father's Day Chapel.
One thing I love about my dad is that he always tries to be funny even though he isn't. And one way he reminds me of Jesus is he loves me very much. Happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is he's so generous. He puts up for himself and he's a hero. And that's how he reminds me of Jesus, because he went through lots of discrimination and just general rudeness to him because of his job. He's still strong and he's still and happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is
and he reminds me of Jesus because he's always loving. Happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is that I can really depend on him. He's always there for me. And one way he reminds me of Jesus is his kindness. He's always very kind to everyone, no matter what I do. And happy Father's Day.
One thing I like about my dad is just he fixes everything in the house. If anything's broken, he'll fix it. One attribute that he has that's the same as God is that he is very patient, and he will help you out like in anything, any need you have. And happy Father's Day.
My dad is awesome because he always knows when to be funny and when to be serious. And he reminds me of Jesus because he always works in a lesson about whatever he's trying to teach us. Happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is that he's so funny and he can always make everybody laugh. And one way he reminds me of Jesus is that he's so generous with everything. Happy Father's Day.
One thing that I love about my dad is that he helps us with a lot of stuff. And the way he reminds me of Jesus is that he's very patient with us. And happy Father's Day.
What I love about my dad is all the good conversations that we have together. And one way my dad is like Jesus is he always has time to listen no matter how long or crazy my stories are. Happy Father's Day.
One thing I like about my dad is that he's like really funny all the time. And one way he reminds me of Jesus is he's like always there when I'm like sad. Happy Father's Day.
I love my dad because I know I can trust him with anything. And he reminds me of Jesus because I know he'll always love me no matter what. Happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is that he's always there for me and always helps me stay strong. And he reminds me of Jesus because he's always there and just loves me no matter what. And have fun.
Okay, something that I love about my dad is that he's always like energetic, and I love that about him. Like, he's always like doing crazy dance moves and stuff. And then what he reminds me of Jesus is that he's always talking to God and he's always reading his Bible. So I just love that about him. Happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is that he always knows when I'm hurt or upset, and he always knows how to fix it. One thing that makes me think of Jesus about him is he always works in a lesson about God when he's talking to me. Happy Father's Day.
The way he reminds me of Jesus is how supportive he is of everything that me and my older brother do. And Happy Father's Day.
One reason that I love my dad is that he's always willing to go out and play sports with me. The way that he reminds me of Jesus is that he always puts other people's needs in front of himself. Happy Father's Day.
My dad is really helpful, and he's always like helping me with my homework or anything. And he's like God because he's really caring and he's really helpful. So, Happy Father's Day.
One thing I love about my dad is that he always puts others first before him. And the way he reminds me of Jesus is he always quotes scripture when we do things together. And Happy Father's Day.